Welcome back. In our previous video, we talked about the definition of HTML terms, the HTML element, the HTML tag, and I showed you how you can be able to use the HTML element and also how the tag is being structured. So today I'll be talking about the types of HTML tags and how you can be able to use those HTML tags depending on the kind of content you want to render on your HTML, either being a text, image, or being in a video or audio. So let's move to our text editor so that I will show you how you can be able to render those HTML elements. Alright, so we'll be talking about the HTML content, right? Things that you get to see on your HTML page. And I would like to categorize them into probably 4 or 5 different categories. The first one is called the text content, right? Like this text, as you can see here, this is the text content that you're seeing on the HTML. And this text content, we have different HTML tag that is responsible for you writing HTML text content. And the first I would like to talk about is, so these are the text content. So the first one I would like to talk about is your heading HTML elements, and this is how you write heading, and we have 6 type of heading. So this one is the first one, which is the largest heading. As you can see, is large. So I'll write another one which is called heading 2, and I'll say welcome back again. Oh, sorry, welcome back. Right, as you can see, then we also have, so I'll just duplicate this line so it'll be easier for us to just write all the types of heading easily. So we have heading 3, we have heading 4, and we have heading 5, and we have heading 6, which is the last type of heading we have. So as you can see, the sizes is reducing as we go higher in the heading structure, right? And as you can notice, the text is bolded, right? Because every heading element is like a title, right? And which is like they want you to get to see it, right? To draw your attention. So that's why it's bolded. So by default, all heading elements is all ending elements tag is the content in between is bolded. So this is how you get to write your heading. So we are done with writing our HTML element. The next text content tag I'll be talking about is the paragraph tag. So P for paragraph, right? So we just use P tag for paragraph. So if you want to write a paragraph, this is how you end up writing your HTML paragraph. And don't forget, your HTML paragraph, every paragraph starts on a new line, and I will explain this when we are talking about your box model, when we will be treating CSS. But just know that your heading tag starts on a new line. As you can see, this guy is starting on his new line. Even though I'm taking this guy to be here, even though I'm taking the tag to be on the same line, you see that it's also starting on a new line, irrespective of the order. Same thing to paragraph tag. All these tags that start on a new line are called block level elements, right? Block level element. Don't worry, we'll talk about that when we're treating CSS. So let's write, we have this, it helps us to like lorem ipsum, like a demo text, right? So it's easier to do with VS Code. So this is how you write your HTML paragraph. So if you copy this and put it in the next line, you'll notice that the paragraph is starting on a new line. As you can see, there's a space because it's a block level element. So that's like that for paragraph. The next text tag we'll be talking about is called the Pretag, right? Which is PRE, Pretag. So Pretag is an HTML tag that you use in writing HTML content, and it will render the content based on how you structure it. Let's say, for example, I'm saying hello, I'm going down to say word, right? Then when I save it, you notice that the text are not starting, they're not on the same line, because this Pretag helps you to just render the content based on how you structure it, based on the format of how the text is. Until I take this guy to the new line, to the same line, that's where you get to see that this guy is actually on the same line, as you can see. So, and the space also is also respecting the space that you put also, so it will render it based on that, and it depends on how you want to use this HTML tag. But I rarely use this in a rare situation. I use this HTML tag. The next text content tag we'll be talking about is called our list item, right? So like just like you know in your menu item, like when you go to a restaurant and you want to eat, they show you menu, right? Like a list of food that they have in that particular restaurant. So you can use HTML list tag to write HTML element. We have two different type of list element, right? The first one is called the order list tag, and it's written like this. You write OL, which is order list. O stand for order, L stand for list, right? Then in between the OL, you now have the list item, which is LI, right? And you put whatever item you want to put here. Let's say fufu here. You can have another one called Eba. I know in your mind you'll be like, this guy like to eat swallow. Yeah, I love swallow a lot. Pounded yam is my favorite swallow. So as you can see, the item here is rendering as 1, 2, right? Because we are using order list. Order list helps you to arrange a list of items in an hierarchical order using numbers, right? While the next list item we have, list tag we have, is called on order list, which is UL. UL stands for on order list, right? So LI for the list item you want to render. So you can have anything here. So let me just duplicate this, right? And as you can see from the HTML page as it's rendering, it's not making use of numbers, it's just using bullet sign. And this is how you write list items. So anytime you want to write anything in list, anytime you're thinking of writing things in list, the first HTML tag that should come to your mind should be either the order or on order list item. So let's move to the next one, which is HR. HR is used for writing horizontal line on your HTML page. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to be capital letter. Please don't write your HTML tag in capital letter. Always write it in small letter. Right? You see, as you can see, HR stands for horizontal line, and you as you see, and this tag is the tag that does not have closing HTML element, right? So HTML tag. So as you know, this guy we call it an empty tag because it does not contain any item in between two opening and closing tag, right? That's why it's called empty tag. So as you can see, the reason why it's categorized under text is because your text element or your text content, you can probably, when you're writing, you can want to underline a particular thing, so you can use this horizontal line to line. But most people use it for sectioning content, right? But that's the reason why they classify it as a text content element. So that's how you write your horizontal line. Then the next text content element we're talking about is div. Div also, the reason I will also say the reason why they categorize it as text content, because you can actually have text in between. You can also have other HTML element that can be written inside this. Like I can say this is my p tag and I can write anything in between it, and it's also easy for you to use, right? Just have your opening tag of the div and your closing tag. In between you can have your text or any other HTML element. So let's move to the next section or the next type of content that you can render your HTML with using HTML is your media, right? Your media. So I'll be talking about things like your images. Like so let me start with image, right? Let's say for example you want to render image to your website. You can use your image tag, and the image tag is written this way. So img, opening angle bracket img, and space src. Src is an attribute. An attribute is just a way for you to add additional information to your HTML element. In our CSS, we'll talk more about attribute because we have different type of attribute, and some HTML elements have a special kind of attribute. Like image have src. You cannot put src for paragraph tag or list item. It's just meant for image and any other related HTML tag that makes use of src. Alright, this is alt. Alt is like an alternate text, like the text you put to describe what kind of image you are trying to add to your text. So anytime the image is not rendered, anytime we cannot find any image, you get to see your alt text. So if I put anything here, because we've not added anything to our source, you notice that the text I have in our alt tag is what is rendering here. So let me go and grab image from my machine and add it so that you get to see the image there. So let me get one image, just a second. Looking for image. Alright, let me just use this image. Yeah, let me rename it so that it'll be easier for me to just use. So call it img. Just call it img. Oh, sorry, I missed the format of the image. So let me go back and put the format. I can say png, right? Let me say png. Right, this is the image. So let me go back here. The image is png. So let me add the image. So this your src is the location. It points to the location of the file and the file itself. So it's appended by, so for you to be able to like write location, so for example this image is in our root directory, right, meaning it's the same level with the HTML tag, right? Then for you to write, you to select the image, just put dot and forward slash to show you all the items in that current directory. So I'll just select the image and save, and you get to see the image on our website. This is how you add image. As you can see, the image size is very large. That's the reason why it's taking on the full width. So don't worry, I'll show you how to like write a minimal HTML for your image, right? Just do this so that you take 100% of the content. I don't want it to overflow. So this is how you get to see. Don't worry, we'll learn. That one is HTML, CSS. We'll talk about CSS. So this is your HTML image tag, and this is how you write it. Let's say, for example, this image is not in this current directory. Let's create a folder and have it there. Let's call it img folder, and let's move our image into the folder. You now notice that the image is not showing here because the location of the image has changed. So since our location of the image has changed, we have to now come back to our HTML tag and tell the image tag where it can find that particular image. So for first, one dot means the current directory, right? Why? In the current directory, so let me remove this so you see what I'm trying to say. In the current directory, we have a folder called img, which is among the list of items showing. When you select it, then you inside the folder we now have img as image, and you select it. As you can see, the path to that image has changed. So as you can see, I'm pointing to the image location and appending the name of the image and the image format. That's how you get to write your HTML tag for image. Then the next media content we'll be talking about is how you can be able to render your video, right? Let's say you have video that you want to put on your HTML page or your website. You use your image, your video tag to do that. And this is how you write your image tag. This is like the shorthand of writing the image tag. Now, video tag rather. So since we don't have any video here, let me go and drag a video that we can render, right? So let me just drag this one here. So we have a video. So let me come back here to my HTML and render that video. So I'll say / and it will show me the video, right? So for me to be able to control how the video plays, right? Like meaning you can pause and play. So I'll have this image, this tag called control, and control is the guy that is responsible for showing all these items that you're seeing that you can play and you can pause, right? Yeah. So that is that for that. So this is how you get to see it. Now the next thing, that's how you render your video on your website. So we can now see that the video is showing. But when you take out this control here, you end up not seeing anything that will help you to play the video. So it's always advisable you have your control. So the next content, which is audio, so now put audio to our website. As you can see now, you are not seeing anything because we have not added any content. So let me go to my system and get audio for this purpose. Oh, seems like I don't have any song. I don't have any audio song currently. Let me see. I'm looking for audio. Okay, I have one audio file here. So let me open this so that we can move the audio file into this guy. So this is the audio file. So for you to be able to select the audio file, let's go back to, sorry, you cannot see what I have here. Let me do tab. Alright, you can see this. Let me close this guy. Alright, this is it. Sorry. Okay, now this is our audio. Just like we also have source tag. So as you can see, special HTML element like img, video, and audio makes use of the src, which is source attribute, right? So let's select our audio file, which is this guy, and we can also add control. So it's always advisable to add control so that you can be able to see that you can play and pause. And this is how you get to see your audio here. So let me play this sound. As you can see, you can play this, and you can just go download. See, you can reduce the volume. This is how you forward it. Then this is the volume. You can control the volume, right? This song is is a hit song. You can go download the song. It's by OJ Santino and Radio. They are good artists, coming up artists. They are big artists, and it's mixed and mastered by Badman Mr. Producer. You can go check that on his Instagram account. So this is how you get to render your audio items, right? So that's that for our audio. So for media, you can use IMG for image, video tag, and we have audio tag. So let's move to the next content of your website, which is your table, right? Table. So when you want to render large list of items and records, let me say rather say record. When you want to render large records, you can use table to render that particular record. So I will show you how to write use table to render a record. So how do you do that? You just come here and say table. This table is the parent element, right? So you say table, then in table, you know we have row and column, right? So you now specify which will be your row and which will be your column. And we have heading in table, that means the item that you get to see at the top of each column on your table, right? So we use th to specify the table head, right, in your head. So when you want to render item list of item on your heading, which is an horizontal list, we use tr. Tr stands for table row, right? You use to render table row. Then while td is for table data, which is the content you want to render. So if I put name here, right, and save it, let's scroll. As you can see, you have name. So for us to be able to see what we are doing, let me just comment this image and video so that we'll have space to like see what we are doing. As you can see, we have what? We have name here. And we can have can put another one called age. Say age. Then just say gender, right? Gender. Alright, as you can see, I know you're not seeing how the table lines are. Let me just add a minimal CSS so that I can be able to see the table line. So I'll say table border collapse. This border collapse, we'll say collapse, right? Then another one, I'll say table and table row, table data. We'll do this, we'll say border. So let's add border to it. Border is just a line around the table. Each of these elements are selected. So let's call it black. That's the color of the line. So as you can see, we have a lot of line here. So this is your table row. Can I just, let me see, remove this and save. It's still there. Table row, let's do th too. Right. Alright, so we have table h, t row, which is tr, and table item. The reason why I add this border collapse is for the border, like each of the item we end up, as you can see, we are having different kind of HTML lines wrapping each item. So that's the reason why I'm having this border collapse. So it will collapse every other thing there. So we have this, right? So these are our table row and these are our table heading. So for simplicity, you can probably just take this out. For now, I'll take it out, but we'll get to see why, and I will also add it back. Don't worry, you'll get to see that. So this is it. As you can see, it's looking cool, right? It's looking cooler. So the next thing for your table, well, let's just add it back. Let's just add it back. Let me use th so that it will make our HTML elements, our heading to be bold, to be bolded. Save. Supposed to be bold. We don't know why. Right, let's leave it. So th mean table head, right? And this is how you get to write your table head. This is how you write your table data. Oh, am I confusing something? I'm coming. Let me see something. Sorry. Oh yeah, th is meant for table head, right? Which is like the heading. Yes. Sorry about that. So as you can see, it's bolded because it's the table heading. So th means table heading, right? So it's when you're writing the item itself on the table, that's when you now use td, which is table data. So we've written our heading. So let's come down to our body. So you can say b and tbody, which is table body. Then you can now add your row, which is meant for your first item, first row. So in our first row, we have 4 columns, right? So you put 4 TDs. TDs are meant for the item. So the name is Joe, and Name is Biden. Yeah, Joe Biden, President of the United States. As you can see, I have only two items which is meant for the two column. The last one is not there. So when you add it, you get to see it in that space that you have here. So the gender is male, right? So that's how you write your HTML table. So if you want to add more rows to this table, you just need to, let me just duplicate this because it's still the same thing. But you can have another name here. You can have Joe Mike, and it's also a male. Let me add one and call it a female here. So we say female, and the name is Mary Jo. Let me just say Mary Jo, right? As you can see, as you keep adding rows, you keep adding records to this table. So that's that, and that's how you can be able to write your table. And this is the structure you can get to see here. All right, the next one is form, right? Form element, HTML form element. Form elements is those elements that you use in rendering your form. Right? You know, I believe you know form. If you go to your Facebook, let's say facebook.com, if you go to your Facebook, you get to see this, right? This is a form, right? It has Impute Field where you type your email and your password, and this is a button. It's also an form element that you click to submit whatever data you've imputed in this field. And if you want to create an account, you can click this create an account. It will now bring up a form where you now fill. This one is also another form, but like a different way. They pop it up like a mode out so you can sign up. So let's close this. So this is form. So we'll be writing, I will show you how to write a form like similar like that, right? So how do you write a form? First thing you need to your form element, right? And it takes two properties, right? Two very important property attributes, which is called method and action. Don't worry, I will explain what method and action, but not in this video. All right, so the next thing is your input field, right? Your input field is the field you type whatever information you need. And there's another one called label. Label is the name you get to see on top of the input field. Facebook does not have label. They actually have it like a placeholder. They are using a placeholder pattern where you can get to see this, right? Still cool, right? But I love writing labels, right, on top of your input field. So let's say, for example, I want to have name field that will carry name. So instead of writing the name as text, I'll use label. Label is a form element, meaning that element is being used inside a form. As you can see, we have form here and we have our label. Always put your label inside a form. All right, so the label takes an attribute called for. For is like, say, give it a name that is pointing to a field, right? I will show you the importance of this. Don't worry, let me just go. So this is it. You have a label. All right, let me just put a div here so that I'll create space. I'll just do this for div, right? Since it's a single tag. It's not creating space. I'll probably just do p tag empty p. So you give me space. All right, don't do that. You can, rather let me just do a line breaker. Right, we use the br for line breaker to break line. So I can just duplicate this. All right, the next thing is for us to write our input field. What is input field? Input field is an HTML tag that you use in collecting information, right? Okay, so an input field takes some very key important attribute, which is type, name, and ID. So I will start with type. Type is just trying to tell you that what kind of input you want to collect. Is it text input? Is it number? So we'll start with text. So I'll show you that we can be able to like type text inside this input field. Right? You can type your name, Joe Biden, President of the United States, or you can say number, right? If you want to collect number, you want to collect number from your user. If you come here, you can now type number. Notice that when you change it to number, you cannot be able to type text except for the E. I know you'll be surprised that why is E showing. We said we want only number, but E is like the exponential number. That's the reason why it's accepting E, but don't do that. All right. Then the next for input type we have email, right? Like if you want to collect email from your user, right? So you get to type your email here. So when you type your email, if this whatever you type here is not an email, when you want to submit the form, it will tell you that please, we need an email. See, when I click enter on my keyboard, it's already telling me that this is not the format of how you write your email. You should write it properly. You can give it the text and then you specify the domain of the owner of the email. right? Which is this, the domain for the email. So that's that. We also have another one called checkbox, right? Just like checkbox is also an input field. As you can see, when you click this, you see it's checkbox. This is how you write text checkbox using your input, right? Because checkbox is an input element, so you put it inside a form. Then the next one is called radio button. You know that small button that you have circle? Yeah, this is it. This is your radio button. So that's how you write your radio button. Then the next, we also have another one, checkbox, radio button, and what else? We also another one called another one type called submit, right? So when you specify that this is submit, it will turn it to a button, right? Because it's meant for the form to submit whatever data it contains, whatever input field you have, right? So that is that. And as you can see, since this guy is submit, automatically the HTML already recognized that this is going to be a submit button. But you can also add a value attribute, right? It takes also a value attribute, and you can specify send, right? Instead of saying submit. Submit is the default, but adding a value attribute and giving whatever text you want it to have there, that's how you do it. Then we also have another one called button, right? You can say button, and it's almost the same thing like your. I don't know if button is allowed. Can't remember. You can go check that out. Alright, so that's how you write your input field. And note, I can actually use a line break here so that this input will be on the next line. And I can do just like most people usually do, putting a column here to tell you that, oh, please, we want you to add a column. I know you'll be surprised that you'll be wanting to know how do you write a text in between your input field, just like we have here in Facebook, right? So for you to do that, there's another attribute called placeholder. Placeholder. Oh, I'm sorry, somebody's calling me. I don't think I can take this call. Let me just decline the call. Yes. Sorry about that. I'll call you back. Okay, placeholder is what you accept here. And whatever you type inside your placeholder is what you get to see inside the input field. So let's say enter your name. Let's say enter. Oh my god, this person is really calling me, but I cannot take your call now. I'll call you back. Alright, so we have let's say email. Yeah. Okay, that is that for email. Alright. Oh, sorry about the delay. I had to pick that call. I ordered shawarma and the guy is here and he's calling me. So I had to pick the call. So let's continue from where we stopped. So that's how you write your placeholder. So let me go back to the placeholder, right? So whatever you have here is what you end up seeing there. But because we have a value, sorry. This is the value that is showing inside. So let me take it out. As you can see now, you are having image. Let me edit it to show that you're actually is actually working. So let's say enter your email. Right, that's what you get to see. So that's how you write your placeholder text, right? So this is meant for like collecting data that is meant for just one line. So for multiple line of data that you want to collect, things like your address and stuff like that, there's another input element called text area. And text area, as you can see, is where you can specify how many row you want the field to carry on, how many column, but you cannot do that with input field, right? You can only do this with text area. So let me reduce the column to, let's say 5. I say 50, sorry. Oops. 5, you see, short. Let's make it 20. And the number of row, let's reduce to 5, so it will be shorter in height. So as you can see, let me add a break tag here so that it take it to the new line and it will separate it from our inputs. Text input field that is meant. So this can take text, this can take also numbers, you can take whatever you give it here, whatever you can type, you can take it, you can input it here. So that's text field. So there's another one called button, which is button. You can actually use input field to say button, submit button, right? But there's also a tag which is button. So you can have your send here. And this button also takes type, which you can tell him that is either a button or is just is either a submit button, right? We have a submit here. So this will actually send whatever data you have here in to the location you specify in your action and the method of how you are sending it. So when I click submit, no, I don't want to save it. Sorry, submit. So it sends the record. As you can see, if you come here, you see we have record here. All right. The reason why you're not seeing those things is because, as you can see, we have send here as the name. So what you're seeing in the URL here. So let me just move here small. After this, you see send. Send is the name of the input field, which is this guy. So whatever I give it, that's what you get to see as send. Then is equal to a particular value like this. So send is equal to this guy. So the same thing if I have the name for this, which is text. Let me just call it text area. If I have a name for this, and whenever I type anything in it, and that's what you get to see when you click your submit button. So your submit button will just send the information based on, as you can see, we see this is text area and this is the value inside, and we also have our submit here, which is the first input field. All right, that's that for your form. So this is how you write your form element. So the next one, we're done. Right? Yeah, sure, we're done. So there are other type of HTML element I want to talk about, which is called like the sectioning HTML element. You use it to like group list of HTML elements. You can use it to group element, right? So I'll start with address. Address, right? Address is just like most websites you get to see. Let me go back to Facebook. Facebook did not write address. This is like their copyright. So some website you get to see the address of the website at the bottom of the page. So you can use your address tag to like write that address. So let's do address, right? Then you put whatever address you flat 8 block whatever Lagos, Nigeria. Just that, as you can see, is italicized, right? Because that is how it's meant to be. Your address tag italicize whatever text content you put in between the tag. So that is that, but you can style it using HTML depending on how you want it to be. So the next content sectioning tag is article. Article is also an HTML tag. These are called semantic HTML tags. So because they like have meaning, right? Article, address, so it's already speaking for itself. So article is another HTML tag for content sectioning, right? So things like, for example, if you go to Jumia, you see that you have cards. Let me see jumia.com. All right, you see all these cards that you're seeing. You can actually, it's a group of items, right? You can make it to be article, right? So let's see. Let's inspect this to see if Jumia is doing that. Let's see. Oh well, slimmer. Take this off with mobile. So let's select. I don't know if Jumia is actually using. Yes, you see, they do. Yep. Yes. So you see, they use it to like group this, which is like a card. So they put it in an article HTML tag, and they have other HTML tag like their link, paragraph, and so on and so forth. So you can have paragraph here. You can have a button here. You get like that. All right. So depending on how you want to structure your HTML content, so you can see. So you can go and style this group of items. While the next one is aside. For most WordPress websites, you get to see they use aside. The right hand column, sorry, my UPS is making noise. This is Nigeria. It just took the light. So let's continue. The aside HTML tag is what you use to put content at the right hand side. So let me go. I don't know if I can remember any WordPress website now. Let's do. Let me just see a super. I also build WordPress websites. Maybe I'll talk about WordPress, how you can do WordPress development and learn how to use WordPress to build your website. So let me just make this guy to be full screen and see. I don't think they have a site on this page. Content is still loading. content. All right, let me do, I don't know, sites I can use to show you a site. But I believe you get the concept, right? It's just when you want to put content at the right hand side where you have like your tags, your some other filters that you can use to like filter HTML. And maybe it's because this guy is not full. Right? Okay. I'm just looking for a page that they have a site. Let's see. About page. Company view. All right, good. Yeah. So you see this section, they use your aside tag to render this section. So let's inspect it. I believe they are using aside here, but let's just see how they do. You can actually use whatever you want, but let's just see if these people are actually using aside. So they're not using aside, they're using div. But structurally and semantically, this should be like an aside tag to group all these links that you have here. So we're using aside. Let me bring back my text editor. All right, this is it. Oh my God, oops. Oh, I'll have to reduce the size of this browser. All right, so you use your aside tag, and how do you write aside tag? You write your aside tag, and you can have other HTML element here. You can also have heading. Let me say heading 1, whatever you want to have here, and that is how you get to see it. This is it, right? This is your aside tag. So the next one is called footer, right? Footer is like the bottom part, the bottom section of your website that contains other related information, links, like this section that you can see. So you can see it's grayed out, is having a different color. So this area is called the footer. So you use your footer tag to write your footer. How do you do that? Which is a content sectioning tag. So you just say footer and you put any HTML here that you want to have, whether paragraph, whether image. You know, some companies used to add their own logo, but I don't want to add the image here because to make the page to be long. You can add your whatever content, you can add your links here. All right, good. There's one tag I forgot to talk about, which is anchor tag. Okay, I'll talk about that after this. Skipped my mind. Yeah, this a tag. I'll talk about it. So that is that for your as footer. Then we also have head, right? So head is what you use in grouping your links, right? Your navigation link at the top level of your website. So you can have your nav inside here. You can have your own other list because links, navigation are links, list of items. And you can have your anchor tag here, right? Let's see anchor. So anchor tag is what you use to create links, right? So you want to create links to Google or any other part of your website, you can do that. So let's just say Google. Yeah. So href, as you can see, it contains URL or a URL fragment that the hyperlinks point to, right? So anything you put here, that is what you get to. That is the location you want to go when you click on Google text. So I'll show you in the browser so you get to see how it will look like. So just say google.com and save it. Come to our browser. As you can see, this is google.com. The reason why you're seeing this bullet is because I'm having a tag inside your li tag. That's the reason why you're seeing that bullet. And by default, all anchor tag, which is link tag, automatically apply horizontal to your text. That's why you're seeing this text horizontal, but you can remove it using CSS. Don't worry, we'll be talking about CSS. Alright, when you click this, and this will take us to google.com if you have internet to go. And you will use it also to link more than one page. You can use it to link 2 pages. So let me add another HTML page here. Oh, sorry, this folder. Let's do this. Let's call this page 2, and we have our HTML here. Supposed to be HTML5. Content. Let me close the sidebar so we can be able to see. And I can say p tag. I'll say welcome. Right. I can now use another link to take me back to our previous page, which is index.html. And you see back to home. Yeah, to create another page for us that will link us back to the next page. So let's go back to our first page and we'll point to our page 2, which is page 2. Save it, as you can see. So when I click on this, it will take me to the next page. So when I click this, as you can see, we are now in the next page. As you can see, under the URL is page2.html. When you click this, it will take you back to the index.html. So when you hover on it, you look at the bottom section. Just be looking at this area. When I hover, you see the location that is pointing to 127.0.0 is like the server, while the 5500 is the port and /html. You get to learn that in when we were talking about your the server for your React app. When we'll be talking about React. Alright, so when you click it, it will take you back to the home page, which is right back. So you can use it to link more than one page, right? You can use it to link different pages back and forth together using your anchor tag. And this href means hypertext reference. Alright, href, right? Text reference. That means it's referencing another page. So when you click on the text, but when you remove this text here, you don't get to see anything in between this item. So always have your text here to tell the user that for you to go to this location, you can use this link and click to that location. All right, that is that. So we talked about heading already. We also talk about main. Main is I will show you the full structure of how you should be doing content structuring when you're writing HTML. For now, I'm just talking about the tags. All right, so the next one is the main. The main tag is used to put every other HTML, like all this content that you're seeing here, aside your footer and your header. It's being inserted in your main. Don't worry, I'll show you the full structure after we're done talking about these tags, right? While we have navigation here, which is nav. We use it to write navigation just like we have here. See, we use the nav tag to write a list of items that will end up to style to be our navigation, right? Okay, so you have your opening and closing tag, and you're using another list tag here. Then we have items, so you can have more than one here. Just duplicate it, save it, you get to see all of them. You can change the text, say Facebook, Twitter. But they banned Twitter in Nigeria, so sorry about that. Alright, then we have Instagram. We also have TikTok. I don't know if it is tick like TikTok, like tick. You can go check that out. Alright, so that is that. As you can see, we have them here. So whatever URL I put in their href, that's what it will point to. Okay. Alright, these are called inline. I'd like to talk about this so you just get to see how it is represented. So we have A, B, P, R, and this, right? So these are inline elements, right? Meaning they always be on one line. So irrespective of how you arrange them. So let me just give you a quick example of how you do. Let me use A tag. I will not put any link here. I'll say hello A. Then I will now create another one, another A, to show you that is an inline element. As you can see, they are on the same line, but here structurally they are not on the same line. But because they are inline elements, means they want to be on the same line with each other element, right? This is how you get to see an inline element, which is A. And the next one is B, and B is used for bolding text, right? So if I say B tag here, and I put my A, take this one out, save it, you notice that the A is bolded, right? This A is bolded. Let me use another HTML tag to do this. So let me say hello, then I'll say word, then I'll bold the hello, the word, which is B, using my B tag. Take this out, put it here, right? So when you scroll down, you get to see that this guy is bolded, but this is not bolded. Right, the next one is, we've talked about line breaker, which you use in creating new line. Break line, HTML element into new line. We can actually do this, and they are all inlines, meaning you can use it inside other HTML elements. Right, you cannot have padding inside, you cannot have paragraph inside paragraph, and you cannot have heading inside heading. It's not structurally correct. Alright, but most people might end up doing that, but I will advise you not to do that. So I can actually have a B tag here, as you can see, and it will break this text into two lines. That's like another way of using your B tag. Alright, the next thing is EM. EM is for IntelliSense. Yeah, emphasis, sorry, rather. Emphasis, I can't remember what I is. I can't remember what I is, but small also, we have small and strong. So let me just write them out, so we'll just talk about them. So we have EM for writing emphasis, like if you want to make emphasis when you're writing an article, you can use EM. These are semantic HTML elements. They are structurally correct, meaning EM, emphasis, right? It has meaning tied to it, right? Not like spam that does not have like a specific thing that is meant to do. As you can see, it's making emphasis by italicizing the text. I think the I too do the same thing, right? See, the same thing, but I don't remember. I can't remember the name of. So I element represent a span of text in an alternative voice or mode. All right. So it just also is like a way of making emphasis to a text. So we have span here. Span also is a non-semantic HTML element that you can just use to write anything around it. Most times I use it to like when I'm writing content or when I want to like style a different section, right? I'll use span to like select whatever section and give it new style. So let me just show you an example of that quickly. So take this guy out and bring it here and paste it here, and let's say word. Then I will style only the HTML, only the span tag separately here. So let's go back here and just say span, and I will give it a color. That's like a way of selecting that HTML element, and you can give it color of red, right? See that in that line we only have this guy that is red. So that's like a way of you can actually use your span HTML tag. Then the next one is, we talked about span. Strong. Strong is also meant for emphasis, but like that's like another way for you to bold your HTML, your text, right? You can have text here. And this guy is also an inline element. It's not a block level element. As you can see, it's trying to stay inline. So let's say, for example, you want to like draw attention, or maybe you want to bold a particular section of your text, you can use strong to do that. And we have sub and superscript. Subscript and superscript, just like sub means below, super means above. So if you want to like say 2 raised to the power of 3, you use subscript to do that. Use superscript to do that. Let's say, for example, we have a paragraph here, and we say x, want to say raised to the power of 2. So instead of say, for us to do that, we use our superscript to do that. Then you will now put whatever thing you want it to be raised to. So when you scroll, as you can see, this is how you write some mathematical representation using HTML and C. Using HTML, you can use CSS to style it, right? Then for sub, let me do sub. Let me say y. Let me say y subscript x. So if you scroll, you get to see y subscript x. So that's how you use your sub and superscript. And now we've come to the end of the video. So now I'll take all this content out and I'll show you how you write like a structural content representation using some of those sectioning tags, right? So I'll take everything out here. Yeah, even with this content. So the first thing you want to do, just like on every other website, is your heading, your navigation, right? You use the header for your heading, which will contain your navigation links. So you put your navigation here, you use your own on other list to say home, about us, and contact us, right? So you now use your CSS to style it. So home, about, and contact. That is that. So you have whatever thing you want. Then the next part is the main HTML tag. So every other item that you want to have, you put it here. You can use your sectioning to group things, and article to also group and have other things here, right? I know you're surprised when you see area. It's also an HTML element, but I don't want to talk about it. You use it to like write coordinates for a particular area, but we are not going there now. All right, so you have your content here. So content goes here, right? Then the next is your footer, right? Which is the bottom part of your website. So your links, also related links, will go here. So this is the structure. Let me move this on one page. As you can see now, inside your body, we have your heading, your header, which will contain all your navigation link. Then the main is where you put all your content, while the footer is meant for other related information and link. This is how you structure your HTML semantically, and it will look nice when you do things like this. Then you can go ahead and put whatever content you want to put. I believe you've learned a lot, and this is the end of this video. And in our next video, which will be going into CSS, which we use in beautifying your website, giving it color, giving it padding, margin, adding width to your website, and also some interactivity using your mouse, like over effect, click, and other things. All right, so we've come to the end of this video. In our next video, don't forget to watch the next video if you know you want to learn CSS. And I'll be teaching you CSS in a way that you've never learned before. Meaning I'll teach you CSS in such a way that you will never forget it. Right? Alright. Don't forget, see you in the next video.